Hi, I'm Andrew, and this is Blaster Breakdown. A little while ago, I was lucky enough to get my hands on a Crimson Recon in excellent condition. I'm fully aware this is a collector's piece, complete with the stock, sight, torch up front. However, I'm not a collector, I'm a modder. Purists, look away now. Today, I'm going to turn this into a high-performing HPA blaster with a remote line build using Spectre's Supercore. I'll make this something that's super competitive on any field. Let's have a look inside. Okay, let's remove the accessories and break this open. I think it's tiring. Where's my electric screwdriver? Last two. Okay, there's the spring. No, nothing was stuck. Alright. The jam door pin was just a bit tight. That's alright. So, there's our left half. Slides in place, so it's held in with a little screw there. It's good. This much is going in the bin. This bit at the bottom we're going to keep. That'll be useful. Trigger I'm going to replace. It's always good to hold on to little springs though. This bit doesn't hurt to leave there. And this front part will come out. Oh, that broke that spring. Okay, there's my two halves. So most of these screws are M2.6 10mm long. There's one looks like 20mm that goes in the front at the bottom there. I'll be replacing these ones with my own hex head or socket cap screws. So in the bin with all this. And here's what we'll have instead. So, work a short dart adapter. It'll sit like so. This is a printed piece, sits where the muzzle attachment goes. And this is designed to hold the receiver for the Supercore. So that'll sit in here. That'll fit there. Supercore will fit there. When the pusher extends, chamber the dart into the brass receiver. The front, we've got a thread, and the barrel will be screwed into there. The Supercore itself will be activated by a solenoid valve. I'll keep that in the stock. That'll be powered by a small LiPo. I've got a replacement trigger piece just to match the muzzle. That will activate a small switch that'll fit at the back here somewhere. I might need to cut that shorter, that's fine. And that will control the solenoid sitting in the stock. My air inlet will be through the base of the grip. I've got this Polar Star quick disconnect. It'll sit there, and I'll make use of the original base plate piece, fixing this into here. That then sits like so. First up, I'm going to glue a few pieces in place. One will be that inlet. I'll grind around here to make this sit a bit deeper and epoxy that in place. Secondly, for the muzzle piece, I need to find the exact right position to fit the brass receiver. Then I'll get started with cutting away this part inside the shell on both sides, so the supercore sits flush inside the shell. Okay, I've found from previous builds that the sweet spot for placing this brass piece is so that the front edge sits just about in line with the inner edge of the Talon magazine. I'll mark that position and then start gluing. Alright, there's my mark, so I know that's exactly where I need to glue the brass into the front piece. The next thing, of course, is then cutting away this moulding inside both sides of the shell, so the supercore fits flush like that. Again, the Talon adapter piece is an excellent guide. Basically, I want this front edge of the supercore sitting against this edge of the adapter. You can probably see the front edge of the pusher tip is just in line with the Talon magazine on the inside. Okay, let's get cracking. Okay, this is a good start. So I've done all the shell grinding on the inside to make space for the supercore. It's in there now, and also the trigger. You can hear the little click. What that is this micro switch that I've mounted in place, and so that's going to control the solenoid valve and fire the supercore. So that's just wired up to a little connector that I'll connect to the back. Supercore itself, all the moulding around here has been removed, so that now fits nice and snug on both sides, and the shell closes nicely. So that's all ready to go. The brass receiver is glued into the front piece, so that's setting, a couple of days. The connector for the remote line is also glued, that's sitting another couple of days for that. That hose will then come inside. I'll have an elbow piece maybe about there, and then the rest of the pneumatics are going to fit into this M16 style stock. Solenoid will sit in here. A couple of right angle pieces for the air coming in and then the air going to the supercore. There'll be space in the back for a small battery, a small LiPo, XT30 connector. So the switch will be wired. We have that connector, and then the solenoid wiring, one end will go to here, the other end will go to the LiPo connector, the third bit from LiPo connector back to this switch, so that'll make a circuit. So the rubber end cap just pries off like that. There's a bit of moulding I need to remove on the inside. There is plenty of space in here, but there'll be a bit more space top and bottom when I attach the push fits. Of course, I'll need a hole in this piece for the hose going in and then out again, as well as the wiring to the solenoid and the LiPo. And when that attaches here, the hose to the supercore will kind of be in line here, but the air line from the grip, I think I'll run it down below here. So I'll do some cutting underneath here so the hose goes in a bit lower. So I'll go and do a bit of work on this, making space for the hose. I can connect up my pneumatics and the electricals then. The other thing I can do with the front piece, I've got these nice looking bits that give me a nicer front than the big fat orange original bit. So I'll pull this apart and slot these on. They don't really do anything, but they look nice and cool. So this bit comes apart with a few screws, pretty straightforward. Okay, moving along, we're almost done here. So here's my solenoid, and I've cut the hoses to the right length. So one goes to the supercore, one goes to our air inlet. This is a placeholder. The actual one, the glue is still setting. With the solenoid, I've attached a XT30 connector for my battery, and this connector to link in to the switch. So I can put this together and show you what it looks like now. Attaching the switch and attaching the power. So there's power to the solenoid now. If I pull the trigger, not sure if you can hear, but I can certainly feel the solenoid valve swapping positions. So that's good, I know that's working. I'll connect up my pneumatics now as well. And straight away you can see air's flowing all the way through into the supercore, which is great. When I pull the trigger, we'll see the solenoid swap position and supercore fire, and when I release the trigger, it will fill again with the power connected. So very nice. Okay, now putting this together is a little bit tricky, inserting the solenoid into the back of the stock. It's a bit tight, but it needs to be to have a really neat, tidy solution. So basically I've got two holes, a big one where the solenoid hose and the power will go through, and then underneath a hole for the air inlet hose to go. Now I find it a bit easier if I just tape these together for a moment. This is the tricky bit. Yes, it's coming through now. Just need something skinny to help feed that through. There we are. Okay, so we're ready to put this together now. The air in is glued in place, that's nice and firm. I can attach that to the lower hose, that's good. My brass receiver is epoxied in place, so that's nice and firm, not going anywhere. I need to slide on the cap before I attach the supercore. Connect up the wires first, and I might pull those through a little bit. And supercore, that's good. So it's going to sit like so. Trigger's good. And the inlet hose like that. Magazine adapter. That's good. Okay, that's good. Alright, so the cap is there. These slightly larger M3 screws. The rest are all M2.6. There's one longer one down the front here. All the rest were 10 or 12, 10 millimeters, I think. Okay. Still moves. Now, there we are. And locked in. That's good. The back, I've got this piece that replicates the Nerf rail. These screws go through the top of the stock and through the stock attachment piece for a bit of additional stability. Right, that's good. Now, the front piece. So I've got my printed pieces at the front, and here's the Picatinny rail that I've given a little bit of an angle at the front. That just goes on the usual way and snaps in place. And then this rail, I'll slide over and over the slide and to the front. I can probably trim a little bit off the end. That's good. So there we are. Slides back, we can see inside. Slides forward, keeps the dust out. A few other accessories. Where I've got two pieces of Picatinny joining, I often like to use something like this sling mount. What that does is covers up that there's a join, but also provides some additional stability. Tying the front and the back together. This ergonomic foregrip I quite like. I've used this on many of my blasters, so that'll slide on to about there. This rubber grip always goes nicely. I don't need that larger battery in the back, I can use this smaller one. Last piece, of course, is a barrel. So this is a Monkey Mods anodised barrel. Got this Huntsman bearing scar from Black Raisins as well. I quite like the look of that. 24 bearings. There we are. So there you have it. The original Crimson accessories are gone. Instead, I've got a high-performing semi-automatic HPA blaster at 80 psi. This is doing just a bit under 300 FPS, which is perfect for what I need. Worker stock in the back houses the solenoid valve and battery. Supercore sits in here. The trigger is just a basic electrical micro switch. Now, air inlet at the bottom. The slide still slides. I can access the inside to see the top of my mag, check for jams and so on. Picatinny rail across the top makes it really solid. Nice ergo foregrip. Monkey Mods anodised barrel, red of course, and a new 24 bearing scar from Black Raisins. Again, I'm sure some purists won't like this, but this is what I do. Can't wait to get this one out on the field at the next high FPS event. But until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.